Typically, when we mention the descendants of Adam and Eve, the story of Cain and Abel comes to mind. However, we often forget the other sons and daughters of Adam and Eve. In this video, I will focus on the daughters of Adam and Eve. Who were they? How many were there? Using sources such as the Book of Jubilees, the Bible, and ancient traditions, we will explore the history of these daughters. If this topic has sparked your interest, please like and comment. The unknown story of Adam and Eve is rarely discussed, even by theologians and biblical scholars. People remember Cain and Abel, but forget that Adam and Eve had many daughters. Genesis 5 verses 4-5 reveals that after the birth of Seth, Adam lived for 800 years, during which he had other sons and daughters, totaling 930 years of life. The Bible does not name the daughters, but texts from ancient Jewish traditions do. Based on the Book of Jubilees, I will mention the names of some of Adam and Eve's daughters. The Book of Jubilees, or Little Genesis, narrates the creation of the world and stories from the Old Testament. It is part of the Old Testament Apocrypha. The oldest manuscript dates from 700 BC, but it is a copy of older works. Some associate the Book of Jubilees with Ezra, while others claim that Moses was the author, receiving a revelation on Mount Horeb. The Bible mentions that Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Horeb without eating or drinking. The antiquity of the text does not rule out the possibility of Moses being the author. The Book of Jubilees was popular in Israelite culture and mentions the Book of Enoch, another apocryphal book known to many early Christians. We cannot dismiss the Book of Jubilees, as it contains events aligned with the Bible. According to ancient Abrahamic traditions, the first daughter of Adam and Eve was Ava, which means life. She was the wife and sister of Cain. The Book of Jubilees reports that she had children with Cain, including Enoch. The Bible mentions the construction of a city by Cain, named in honor of his son. The name Ava appears in the Book of Jubilees and other Abrahamic texts, but in some, such as the Cave of Treasures, she is called Kelima. Kelima was Cain's wife and the first daughter of Adam and Eve, according to these traditions. The second daughter was Azura, wife of Seth, the third son of Adam and Eve, born after the death of Abel. Seth means compensation or replacement, as Adam and Eve saw him as divine compensation for the death of Abel. He is considered a righteous descendant, through whom humanity continues to worship God. If you are finding this story fascinating and want to continue exploring the mysteries behind lesser-known biblical figures, please like and subscribe to the channel to not miss the continuation of this analysis in the next part. In the next part, we will analyze the genealogy and fertility of Adam and Eve, and how this relates to the story of their daughters. The genealogy of Seth is significant in the Bible, as it leads to Noah, who played a crucial role in the story of the flood and the survival of humanity. Seth and his wife Azura were a link in the genealogical chain that connects the creation of humanity to important events and characters in the Judeo-Christian tradition. The Book of Jubilees presents an interesting detail. Azura was initially Abel's wife and married Seth after Abel's death. Upon reaching adulthood, Seth married Azura, and from this union descended the lineage of Seth, which became the initial patriarchate of that lineage. The Book of Jubilees reports that Azura was born in the 6th week of the 4th Jubilee, and married her brother Seth in the 4th week of the 4th Jubilee. In the 4th year of the 6th week, she gave birth to a son, Enos. When Enos grew up, he married Noam, his sister and daughter of Seth and Azura, in the 3rd week of the 7th Jubilee. Enos is known for his devotion to praying to God. The main reference to Enos in the Bible is in Genesis 5 verses 6-11, which describes his genealogy. Seth lived 105 years and begat Enos. After begetting Enos, Seth lived 807 years and begat other sons and daughters. In all, Seth lived 912 years and died. Enos lived 90 years and begat Kenan. After begetting Kenan, Enos lived 815 years and begat other sons and daughters. In all, Enos lived 905 years and died. The main characteristic attributed to Enos is his practice of prayer and invocation of the name of God. Genesis 4 verse 26 says, "At that time people began to call on the name of the Lord." This passage suggests that Enos played an important role in promoting prayer and devotion to God in his time, marking a period of spiritual seeking among the descendants of Seth. According to the Book of Jubilees and Jewish Semitic traditions, Cain married his sister Ava and begat the lineage of Cain. Seth, in turn, married his sister Azura and begat the lineage of Seth. How many sons and daughters did Adam and Eve have? The Bible indicates that they had many sons and daughters, especially considering that Adam lived for over 800 years. Adam and Eve were the most fertile humans of their time. Eve, as the first woman, was extremely fertile, and so was Adam. According to these ancient traditions, they had hundreds of sons and daughters throughout their lives. In modern times, according to Guinness World Records, the woman with the highest number of children in history was Valentina Vassiliev, who had 69 children. According to Guinness World Records, Valentina Vassiliev had 27 pregnancies, resulting in 16 pairs of twins, 7 triplets, and 4 quadruplets. Although there are other reports of women with 50 or 60 children, Valentina Vassiliev holds the recognized record. However, Eve surpassed all these women in fertility, being considered the most fertile woman in history. If a modern woman or a woman from 100 years ago was capable of having about 69 children, imagine what Eve achieved, living up to 900 years, according to the Bible. Furthermore, traditions indicate that Adam and Eve had many children, perhaps 70 or more. Considering their health, strength, and fertility, and the context of the time, it is possible that they had hundreds of sons and daughters. Genesis 6 verse 1 mentions that with the multiplication of Adam's descendants, many beautiful daughters were born. A little mentioned curiosity is that the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve had their own ethnic descent, as Adam and Eve were of mixed races. This contributed to the ethnic diversity of humanity, which, despite exhibiting various ethnicities and races, shares a common origin in Adam and Eve. The study of mitochondrial DNA, known as mitochondrial Eve, reinforces this idea, indicating that all humanity shares a common ancestor, despite ethnic and racial diversity. Mitochondrial genetics has revealed that all people descend from the same woman, contributing to the richness of the world's ethnic and racial diversity. Did you know the story of Adam and Eve's daughters? Leave your comments and suggestions for new themes or biblical characters for future videos. If you are interested in unraveling the mysteries of biblical history and want to continue exploring ancient figures and traditions, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share your reflections in the comments. Your participation is essential to enrich our journey of knowledge. May the search for truth and discernment guide your steps. Until next time.